I want to give you the permission slip that you've been desperately needing. I want to give you permission to be angry at your parents. This is one of the biggest issues that people come to see me for. And this is why a lot of people come to work with me as a mental health therapist is the challenges that they feel and that they are facing from their childhood. So many of us, and if you're watching this, this is probably you too. So many of us grew up in homes where we did not feel as though our parents were really capable of meeting our needs, of being there for us, of taking care of us the way that we needed them to, of loving us the way that we desperately needed them to. And we grow up as adults and we have such a hard time actually allowing ourselves to be upset and to be hurt and to be angry because our entire lives were basically sold on this message of, well, they're your parents. Well, they did the best that they could. Well, they didn't know any better. Well, they took me on vacations and they always gave me clothes and we always had food. And well, at least it wasn't as bad as these people, or at least they didn't beat the shit out of me, or at least it wasn't this, or at least it wasn't this, or well, that's your mom. You're really going to be mad at her? Or that's your dad. You're really not going to talk to him? You only have one mom. You only have one dad. We are bombarded with these messages from all over the place, convincing us that we are not supposed to feel what we are actually feeling. And we then get into a habit and in a pattern of gaslighting ourselves out of the thing that we are actually and sincerely feeling. And I've done it too. I did it too. I really struggled being angry at my family for how I was treated growing up and the things that I learned growing up and what I started believing about me and how much I hated myself and how because I didn't feel like I was loved, I entered into abusive relationships because I just needed somebody to want me. And this is something that so many of the clients who come to see me really struggle with is they want so badly to be given permission to put that hurt and that anger and that sadness and that grief where it belongs, but they feel so guilty for doing so. And in all honesty, we are guilted for doing so. How many times has your parent or have you heard someone say, they did everything for you? They sacrificed so much for you. You only have one mom. She did the best that she could. You only had one dad. He did the best that he could. We did everything for you. What if they did the bare minimum? What if that's exactly what they were supposed to do? But because that was all they were capable of, they had to convince you that that's all you needed and all you deserved. Because they actually weren't capable of meeting your emotional needs, of making you feel internally safe and wanted and loved. What if they had to convince you that you were the problem and that you were doing something wrong because they didn't have the skills and the capacity to be the parent that you needed? And so instead of acknowledging their wrongdoings, they had to put the blame on you that you were too needy or you were too much or you were a problem child? What if the truth is your parent had no ability to be who you needed, and that caused you immense suffering? Now, I'm not here to shame parents, because the truth of the matter is most people are doing the best that they can. Most parents were never taught adaptive parenting skills. Most parents were not taught leadership and effective communication and how to meet the emotional needs of a child and emotional and social intelligence and how to teach your kids social skills and how to meet all of these massive needs that every child has. It is true, but that doesn't mean it's okay. They did the best that they could. I sincerely believe it. And it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. Because if it was enough, you wouldn't be suffering the way that you are. It wasn't enough because if it was, you wouldn't be clinging and needing their love so desperately because you would have gotten it when you needed it as a child. It wasn't enough. And it's okay that it wasn't enough. And it's okay for you to say it. And it doesn't mean you have to hate your parents. It doesn't mean you have to cut them off and never talk to them again. It doesn't mean you have to go no contact. If you want to and if you so choose to, that's your choice. But it doesn't mean that you have to. And that's another issue that a lot of my clients will say. They're like, well, I don't want to hate them. I don't want to not talk to them. I don't want to not have a relationship with them. Nobody's saying that you have to. Nobody's saying you have to, but what are you doing to yourself? What's the harm that you are inflicting onto yourself by not acknowledging the truth of what it is that you're feeling and what it was like growing up in a home where your needs weren't being met? Regardless of whether it was intentional or not, the truth of the matter is your needs weren't being met. That's like saying you live in a town that has no water and the town did the best that they could, but they couldn't provide water. You're still thirsty. Yeah, they did the best that they could, but they couldn't provide what you needed. You're still thirsty. Your body is craving that water and now you're dehydrated. You are emotionally dehydrated. You were emotionally neglected. Your needs were not taken care of. And you can love your parents so much and you can know that they love you. And you can also acknowledge that they had no ability to sincerely be there for you the way that you needed. I have a client whose parents provided everything for him. They're multimillionaires. He never went for nothing. And he is suffering so deeply. He has significant mental health issues because his parents could not love him. No matter what he did, it was never enough. No matter how hard he tried, it was never enough. No matter how much he begged and pleaded, his parents could not give him the love that he deserved. And he's suffering for it. It doesn't matter what your parents give you externally. Your parents need to be able to financially provide for you, but that's base rate. That's the bare minimum. There has to be more than that. My parents tried to do everything that they could for me, but they didn't actually meet my needs in here. They didn't make me feel I was good enough. They didn't make me feel I was loved. They didn't make me feel like I was wanted. They tried, but they couldn't do it. And yours probably couldn't either. And that doesn't make you ungrateful. And it doesn't make you bad. And it doesn't make you a selfish person or a selfless, thoughtless child. That's the narrative that you've been convinced of and that you had to condition yourself to believe in order to not hurt your parents and in order to not feel the anger of the truth of what actually happened to you. So here's my permission to you. Be angry at them. Blame them. Give them the accountability that they need. You don't have to say it to them, but hear inside yourself in your own heart. Give yourself the permission to really acknowledge the truth. Because only when you do that, only when you do that, will you be able to heal those demons and those wounds and those exiles within you and be able to move on and maybe rebuild a relationship with your parents, or maybe finally be able to let somebody love you, or maybe to stop seeking significance, or maybe to stop chasing love that's not available to you because it's not real, or to stop being perfect. When you blame intelligently, when you blame accurately and appropriately, it frees something up inside of you because you're letting yourself see it and you're letting it be heard and you're giving it a voice. And when you give it a voice, you then give it permission to let go and to evolve it into something else. You're never going to be able to love yourself. You're never going to be able to be loved. You're never going to be able to give love and to have and do the things that you want in your life until you give yourself permission to acknowledge the truth, to own it and deeply process it and feel it so that you can then let it go. I've helped hundreds of people do this one-on-one in my therapy practice. We've helped thousands of people all over the world through the Evolve Ventures podcast and through our live seminars and doing things like that. And I'm here to say you can do it too. It is possible for you. It doesn't make you bad. It doesn't make you broken. It doesn't make you selfish or ungrateful. It makes you a human being who's hurt and who deserves to have that hurt acknowledged so that you can heal and move on. I hope that you give yourself the permission to feel what you are sincerely feeling so that you can move on to the life of your dreams. I did it. I've helped other clients do it. And I promise it's possible for you too. So blame intelligently, blame appropriately, and then go live your life.